Welcome to Guilds of Ravnica with Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice. And we're up against Kambal, Consul of the Allocation. We have a slow start, but we do have lands in the hand, a little bit of ramp, a little bit of card draw, keep our opponent off of tutoring. Yeah, I think we can go into this fairly comfortably. Our opponent mulliganing, or deciding whether to mulligan down to 4 or not. But I think they've kept 5, so hopefully we can get a decent and half-fair game here. Yeah, Aurelia the War Leader costs, not the War Leader, the Exemplar of Justice is a 2/5 for 4 mana with Flying and Mentor, and at the beginning of combat on your turn you choose a creature you control, give it +2 to its attack, and then give it Trample if it's red, and Vigilance if it's white. We draw into something for turn 1, so we will not go in for a tap land. We'll go in for a plateau and go into the Faithless Looting, which of course is single red, and we'll draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Well, there's no point in having by force in our hand if we have a Vandal Blast, so that was quite easy, and we can pass the turn over to our opponent. So I think we're going to get either Mind Sensor down on turn 3, but if we're not worried about fetch lands and the like, then we can probably just go into a Faithless Looting and try and get into some more effects. Alright, Ajani's Pridemate coming in. That'll get big quickly enough, I'm sure. But as for us, yeah, there's nothing we can do, so we'll just play more coloured mana and pass over to our opponent. And this is as even Mind Sensor might inform you, I've built this so that it's a Hate Bears deck, but it doesn't have all the super powerful Hate Bear cards in there, and it doesn't run Armageddon or anything like that. I didn't really want that. I don't like mass land destruction decks. I'm not that spiky a player. So I've replaced those out with some equipment and equipment shooter cards. But as for the main strategy of the deck, that's what it is to tutor up Hate Bears and try and deal with our opponent as best we can. I think we'll just hold up the Aven Mind Sensor here, hopefully in response to something like a Demonic Tutor. And then next turn we can get into Aurelia and hopefully it stays on the battlefield long enough to start dealing some damage to our opponent. Our opponent's commander is Kambal, Consul of Allocation, 2/3. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player is drained for 2. We do have non-creatures in the deck, so that might deal a lot of damage to us over the course of the game. And yeah, Orzhov is a very good removal deck, so don't know how easy it's going to be to make all these creatures stick. But we'll get out Aven Mind Sensor. We draw into some removal of our own, so is it worth playing Aurelia yet? I think we'll just play it out slowly, get into Solemn Simulacrum, and then we can get into a red source and try and get Aurelia out next turn, hold up Path. I think that's a good way to go. We can try and get rid of our opponent's commander. As for now, we're going to retaliate with our 2/1 flyer. Not too worried about our opponent playing out some spirits at instant speed or anything like that. And we can of course block with the Solemn Simulacrum. We will block the Ajani Pridemate and trade them, because that thing will get big faster than we can deal with it most likely. Alright, Elixir of Immortality will gain them some life, which will make Ajani bigger. So that means we're in chump blocking territory. So we'll just save ourselves some commander damage here. Okay, not sure why they're not swinging in with the commander. It's not a 2/2, it's a 2/3, but no problem for me. It means we're taking less life. And we draw into another land, which is... that's okay. Yeah, Stranglehold, Aven Mind Sensor is already doing Stranglehold's job. They could remove the Aven Mind Sensor, but I think I want to get down Aurelia. We can hold up the Path to Exile. So we'll give the Aven Mind Sensor a +2 buff and Vigilance because it's white. And we'll get in the air for 4 damage on our opponent there. And running a little bit slower than it has done, but this is the type of thing that you want to do with Aurelia, is get out lots of creatures that have effects that make things more difficult for our opponent. Something like the Canonist that stops you from playing out more than one spell a turn. Things like that. Aura of Silence is... it might affect us with regards to getting out equipment. It'll certainly affect us with that Mind's Eye, but we do have Vandal Blast, so not too worried about that, to be honest. And I think we will path our opponent at the end of this turn. Okay, so path on Kambal. We do get Drain for 2, which will make Ajani's Pridemate bigger. We can always yield to Ajani's Pridemate. And then see what we draw into next turn. I think we get into Odric, to be honest. That will give... Yeah, we need to make sure that Odric resolves after Aurelia, because then we can maximise the number of effects that all our creatures have. Our opponent just deciding which land they want to tutor for with... Oh, and they fail to find. So do they only run 2 basics? Ah, I don't know. Okay, and our opponent Shame Scoops, which is rather annoying. Alright, I'll just put this at the end of, or the beginning of, a different video. Thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying the Guilds of Ravnica week so far. See you in a minute. And Guilds of Ravnica week continues with Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, and Sygg River Cutthroat. Very good commander, underplayed I think. We will keep this because we have some lands and we can go into Enlightened Tutor. Might go for a Cryptic Command, not a Cryptic Command, what is the name of that card? Mana Crypt. Yeah, the Crypt threw me off. Yeah, we'll go for the Mana Crypt with the Enlightened Tutor, and then we can get down a turn 2 Aurelia and start swinging in there. We could go for Stoneforge Mystic after that and try and get down probably a Lightning Greaves. Okay, but our opponent is going to have us discard, so we'll get this Enlightened Tutor on the go and go for that Mana Crypt. Don't mind going for the Mana Crypt, especially now if they're going to be having us discard things. Probably go for Stoneforge Mystic there. It's either the Vandal Blast or the Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, they go for Stoneforge. That does change things somewhat. That's a good discard by our opponent. We will go for our commander. She's gone hiding. For some reason those windows just disappear at their own leisure, which is quite annoying, but easily rectified at least. And now Aurelia just has to sit there. And yeah, it would have been really nice to get down Stoneforge next turn into a Lightning Greaves. Then we could get Shroud onto her. But not to worry, we'll just have to hope that our opponent doesn't remove. Okay, Bitter Blossom will actually see the Trample from Aurelia come into effect then against those fairy tokens. Okay, we lost the flip, so we've been bolted. Selfless Spirit. No, I think I just like going in for Odric here, so we can start swinging in with that next turn. And we'll get Aurelia's trigger on the stack. We want Odric to resolve last. That's a good habit to get into, because we want Odric to see that Aurelia has given something Trample and Vigilance. So as you can see, Odric now has Flying, Vigilance and Trample, but unfortunately does not have Haste. And we'll get into our opponent for 4 and pass turn and hope that they don't have removal. I'm not too worried about the Fairy Rogue tokens because Aurelia does get trample from being red, so we can hopefully still get through. Assuming that we're not destroyed here. No, going for Sygg River Cutthroat. And yeah, Odric gaining flying there, which I'm not sure how relevant that will be over the course of the game, but you never know, we'll have to see what happens. We get into a land, which comes into play tapped, so I think we just get down the Selfless Spirit here. No artifacts to blow up with the Vandal Blast, unfortunately. But we will be able to somewhat protect our creatures with the Selfless Spirit. We'll get Odric on first, and then we'll give the buff to Aurelia, and therefore Odric will get those buffs as well. And the Vigilance is going to be very relevant here in this game, I think, because Sygg River Cutthroat, I don't think I've been over it yet, is a 2-mana 1/3. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, you may draw a card. So Fairy Rogue tokens are a good way to eventually swing in for 3 every turn. And basically I think we're just at a point where we're trying to outrace our opponent. We don't want to be getting dealt 3 damage every turn and feeding our opponent into card draw, but they will get into a Mystical Tutor, which is quite worrying. We'll see what they get into with that. Might be some kind of exile effect so that it can get round the Selfless Spirit. But I think, yeah, I don't blue does have the odd bit of okay, and seems to be something that happens a lot with this Boros deck. You want to just swing in and get damage onto the field as soon as you can. When it starts happening around turn 4, 5, 6, quite quickly, people just seem to scoop straight away. So at least it shows a little bit of what the deck can do. I'm going to keep trying and get a fun game out, but I suppose at this point, when you've seen the videos, you'll already know how successful I was with that. Hope you enjoyed the Aurelia Exemplar video, or what you might have seen of it so far. I'm not sure where this is in the scheme of things. It might be spliced to other videos. I might have put it in the bin, in which case I'm just talking to myself and no one will ever hear this. Bye bye.